I'll be serving as your master of ceremonies this evening as we honor both athletic contribution and excellence. This event continues to be an event that all of us in the athletic department look forward to each year. This is my 29th dinner that I've been a part of, and I continue to honor and enjoy what this event means to each and every person here in attendance. There's an additional boost to this year's dinner in that we are celebrating 100 years of athletics here at John Carroll University. Absolutely. This is our opportunity to reflect back on an amazing athletic history. And there is history throughout this room tonight. When you think of putting together a team, think of these words from Henry Ford. Coming together is a beginning. Keeping together is progress. Working together is success. The 1989 John Carroll football team was not put together by conventional means, but over time, the assemblage of individuals resulted in a Hall of Fame team. They came together in the beginning, built from the ashes of a 2-7 campaign in 1986 to produce a winning season in 1987. They kept together, working in the off-season to improve, to change the culture, and producing a 7-2 season in 1988. They worked together, starting with a memorable win in Buffalo and running through the new Ohio Athletic Conference rivals and setting up a de facto championship game with Mount Union. The team came together on November 4th, 1989, and delivered a win for the ages, a 31-7 trouncing of Mount Union that sealed the program's first championship of any kind in over a decade. It was a symbolic win in that John Carroll had moved from the President's Athletic Conference to the Ohio Athletic Conference to start the 1989-90 academic year. For head coach and athletic director Tony DiCarlo, winning the conference validated his belief that the OAC brought greater opportunity for NCAA postseason play. The 1989 team became the first team to win 9 games in the season, the first to win an OAC crown, and the first to appear in the NCAA Division III playoffs in school history. There are memorable games and memorable names associated with the 1989 football team. And now there's the memorable moment where this team earns its rightful place into the Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the John Carroll University Athletic Hall of Fame, the 1989 football team. We will first hear from Coach Kerry Volkman.
Good evening. Truth be told, I would rather be back in a locker room addressing you guys with a pregame or halftime message. That being said, it is great to be back on campus at my alma mater. I consider it a privilege to be able to share this evening with you. A sincere congrats to our most recent inductees, their families and friends. An amazing accolade. Cherish it. I want to personally acknowledge the induction of John DeSillo, a finer person I have yet to meet. Blessed to have shared a portion of my life with John as a colleague and a wonderful, wonderful friend. Fortunate as well to have coached tonight's wrestling inductee, Ryan Summers. Ryan, you deserve it. Congrats. When I have cause to reflect back on the team of 1989, I remember them as a team of destiny. Talented individuals who embraced a common goal and made it a reality together. As coaches, we too shared a similar vision together. We were fortunate to share an unforgettable season and a once-in-a-lifetime experience. The 1989 season was no mistake. Coach Carroll envisioned it. Joining hands with former President Mike Lavelle, Coach recruited players, hired coaches, changed our uniforms and helmets, changed our attitudes, changed our work ethics, tore a stadium down, and built another. Revamped our existing training facilities, which appropriately now carry Coach's name. Led us into a more competitive and acknowledged athletic conference. As aforementioned, the list goes on and on. You get the point. Coach D, when finally hired as the head football coach for John Carroll University, became a human tornado. Literally, when he set his mind to something, he stayed the course and he made it happen. Tough, opinionated guy to work for at times. If you had a different opinion, buckle up. Better have courage and a solid reason. However, in the end, he was probably going to get it done his way anyway. There was only one, Coach D. True enough, many of us here are here to honor the induction of the 1989 football team into the Hall of Fame. That being said, it would never have come to fruition without the direction, organization, insight, tutelage, passion, and patience of a dedicated and experienced coaching staff. Our coaches love the game of football. Our part-time coaches were certainly undercompensated for their contributions, but they stayed the course, and most importantly, they respected and loved their players. So please allow me to conclude my portion of this evening's agenda by introducing them to you. Tommy Curtis isn't in the house today. He's a former JCU great, was a graduate student at that time. Tom is the vice president of Lubrizol, and his responsibilities preclude him from being with us this evening. Chick Dulciata, give the shirt off his own back kind of guy. A constant supporter of JCU football during the DeCarlo era. I loved his creative play calling, and he reminded all of us that indeed football is a game and meant to be shared and enjoyed. Rich Nowak is coaching this evening. Mike Glazer, we're fortunate to have him with us. They both matriculated to our staff after established and successful careers as high school head coaches. Brought so much to the table during their coaching years with us. Greg Debelak, another record-setting player as a quarterback at JCU, was a graduate assistant at the time. Greg has established a remarkable career of his own over the years as the head coach of Case Western University. Good luck tomorrow, Cal. Tim Reardon, retired teacher, counselor, and head coach at Maple Heights, told me daily upon arrival at practice he couldn't wait for tomorrow because he got better looking every day. Definitive definition of a player's coach. Our players loved and respected him. Also, the self-anointed maker of all Americans, and that's via JT, Timothy. Former head coach at John Carroll University, Regis Scaife, exited John Carroll University as the longest tenured head coach in the history of John Carroll football. Spent a major part of his career at JCU. 88 victories placed him within striking distance of being the winningest coach at John Carroll. Was the first JCU coach to lead his team to the NCAA Final Four, and in the process had a record season 12 victories. Following his exit from John Carroll University, he finished his head coaching career at Thomas College in Kentucky, Thomas More College in Kentucky, with a record of 26-7, 2 consecutive conference titles, and 2 playoff appearances. It has been daunting for me to stand before you this evening in Coach D's stead. This should have been his moment. As so many others, he changed my life through his guidance, inspiration, and direction. Thank you, Coach. I'd like to welcome to the podium our former captain, number 53, Dave Rousseau.
You guys, I thought we'd get a little bit louder applause. We're in, guys, 1989. Yeah, 30 years. We got it. Whoever did this, I appreciate it, you guys. I really do. It means more to me than anything. Who actually put the picture in? Bruce? Ayani? Fulco. Frankie. You're going to get more airtime tonight, buddy. Now, Mike, I know you talk. Congratulations to all the other fellow inductees. Mike, you see a lot of airtime. So I got the long version here, you guys. I got the short version. What do you guys want to hear? I got 8 pages to read. I will try to speed it up. I am Dave Rostoka, and I am honored to be here. Honored to be the co-captain along with Jimmy Mitchell, Stevie Prelock, and Joey Bain of the 1989 team. We are so grateful to be inducted, and thank you to the Blue and Gold Club and to John Carroll University and John Carroll Athletics. Shout out to Dana Funyak and Michelle Morgan for putting this on. You guys did a fantastic job. I can only imagine what it takes to pull something like this off. Coach talked about the 1987 and 88-89 teams, and back in 1986, Coach mentioned we had 2-7 season. And it was a combination of the 87 and 88 teams to lead to that 89 season. That was very memorable for all of us. To put things in perspective, we had 11 years of tough seasons. We only had 2 winning seasons. From 1974 to 1987, there's only 2 winning seasons, and they went 5-4. So 87 comes along, Coach DeCarlo leading us. 87, 88, 89, we broke 45 records. I had the 1995 media guide. God knows how I got it. I went through them, but those 3 teams in those 3 years, we broke 45 records, you guys. It's pretty remarkable. 1987, a new beginning. Expectations were high, and losing was not an option. Conference championship, national championship, that was the expectation, nothing less. Coach rolled out the new uniforms. He rolled out our traveling gear that we have today, the blue blazers, the golden striped ties, the khaki pants, and we felt like champions. We went 5-4 that year, and our biggest game came against Baldwin Wallace, and it was dubbed the game. In 1986, BW beat us 35-10. 1986. 1 year later, the game. We had an amazing game, and we end up winning the game 10 to 3, almost with the same exact guys. So that was definitely the signature win in 1987. But another important event happened in 1987. It was called the Cafe Rock, our local watering hole. We had a guy that owned this bar named Barry Jackson. I tried to get a hold of him, I tried to get him here. But he basically turned the Cafe Rock into a John Carroll institution. There was tons of sports memorabilia, a lot of football stuff, and it was absolutely amazing. And the crazy thing is, he would get a camcorder, and he'd be up in the stands, these huge 1987 camcorders, and he'd film the games. Then he'd take that VHS tape, go to the bar, pop it into TV, we would shower and come and watch the game that we just played in his bar. It was absolutely crazy, and looking back on it, it was a once-in-a-lifetime happening. 1988, we started hitting our stride. We had a big win against our cross-time rival, Case Western Reserve, Debs. He wasn't there, but he's the coach there now. 27-10. The other big win came against Carnegie Mellon. It was 24-7, another milestone victory. From 1974 to 1987, 13 years, we only beat Carnegie Mellon twice. In 87, we beat them 24-7. And I remember that game like it was yesterday, and the guys that were in that game in 1988, it was a really hot day, and we were dying. It was really the end of the first quarter, but we never played on AstroTurf back in 87. And it was a really hard turf, and the heat was just coming up from that turf, so we were exhausted. So Tony DeCarlo Jr., co-captain in 88, and all the guys in the team were like, Stokes, call a timeout, call a timeout. It's like the first quarter, and we were dying. And I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna go tell Coach DeCarlo we're calling a timeout. He's like, why'd you call a timeout? Because we were really tired, Coach. He would kill me. So in my mind, I'm thinking it's better for all of us to die of heat stroke than me to go face Coach DeCarlo and his wrath. Another thing happened in 98, and talking about Coach and his perfectionist, and he was just such an intense guy, and he was so organized. Every Friday we'd come out and do special teams. And all of us got along so well, we were always talking and screwing around the sideline. So we called field goal team or kickoff team. It was always someone not paying attention, and someone wouldn't be on the team. Someone wouldn't come out. So Tony Jr., DeCarlo Jr., he comes to us on a Friday practice. Before the practice, he said, Stokes, everybody get over here. I don't want my dad to blow a gasket today. Can you guys please pay attention? Just focus. So when he calls out special teams, everyone pay attention and get out there. So sure enough, they call the punt team. Punt team! Coach yells, punt team! 10 guys go out there. One guy's missing. Coach Eller, the special team coach, is next to Coach DeCarlo, and Coach DeCarlo's like, God dang it, who's not out here? And Coach Eller goes, it's your son, Coach. Tony wasn't paying attention. He had to run out there, put his helmet on, run past his dad, and we thought he was gonna get the big size 12 foot right up his butt, but it didn't happen. On to 1989. I'm trying to go quick, you guys. It has been 30 years, but I can still smell the odor and the old locker room with the sweaty shoulder pads and the big fans blowing. The room's right next door to us. 30 years, and I can still hear the sounds of the football cleats clicking across Bellevue Boulevard. And I can still hear Coach's booming voice across the practice field going, PMA, PMA, positive mental attitude. I was thinking about the game, and I was thinking in particular, a football play. A football play lasts about 4 to 12 seconds. And during that play, 3 things can happen. You can be a hero, you can get embarrassed or beaten on the play, or 3, you can be a non-factor in the play. But the best part of the game is you get to do it all over again the very next play. You can redeem yourself, maybe even be that hero. And the main goal in every game is to put together several good plays in a row, so in hopes of getting a victory. And if you think about it, it's sort of like life. Life is full of good moments and bad moments. And the goal and the hope is that you put as many good moments together as possible. And that's exactly what we did in 1989. To take you back to 1989, gas was $1. Glamour rock was the new sound with bands like Poison, Wonky's favorite, Motley Crue, Bon Jovi. You go to any bar, and you can hear Funky Cold Medina by Tone Loc. And yes, even the Rolling Stones came out with their 27th album that year called Steel Wheels. It was the year that the Berlin Wall came down, and the best part of 1989, none of us owned a cell phone. And if you knew our guys, that was a really good thing. You see, that 1989, we knew it was our year. Many people didn't know this fact, but the 1989 season, Wadsworth Field was under construction. They were laying the new AstroTurf, and all of our home games were played at Brush High School. And it was the year that we entered into the OAC conference. We were playing with the big boys, the Mount Unions, the Ohio Northerns, the Marietta, the Muskingums. And we also had several new faces on the team. One of them, our quarterback, Larry Wonky, transferred from the University of Pittsburgh. I personally did not know Larry prior to him joining the team, but I heard the stories. I heard about his arm strength and that he had a magnetic personality. I soon found out, after knowing Larry for 2 months, that only one of those was true. Larry had a really strong arm. That is funny. I was writing that and I was laughing. I was like, this is good. But Larry, he graduated in 2 years. Wonk broke 16 records. In 2 years, he broke 16 records. He pretty much broke every John Carroll passing record there was. I never seen anyone throw a ball like Larry, it was truly poetic. We also added another talented running back to an already stellar group. We had co-captain and all-OAC Steve Prelock, who already had several records on his own. Then we had John Minke, who's made it tonight, a tough all-purpose back out of Lake Catholic. And then came Willie Beers, AKA Chili Willie. Willie transferred from Kent State with a lot of persuasion from myself and Coach D, and Willie finally committed to JCU, and thank God he did. He's a Hall of Famer. His number 27 jersey is retired, and he went on to lead the OAC in yardage with close to 4,400 yards. Willie was a tough, hard-nosed kid that never backed down from anyone. You gotta be the football player who's starting to cry. Soccer players, and then I'm like the big tough guy. What's up with that? I just love Willie. Like Steve, they were hard-nosed. They both had a lower body strength. They were hard to tackle. And then we had Frankie Fulco, tough kid out of Chicago, who only knew north and south. Ray Lowe, a great blocking back that protected Larry. Our receiving core and offensive line was stacked. Petey Angolia caught everything. No one remembers Petey ever dropping a ball, even in practice. Bruce Saban, so elusive, quick, and dangerous in the open field. And all OAC Hank DeRica. Hank broke 9 individual school records before he graduated. He was amazing. He basically rewrote the record book. He was fearless, athletic. He was a thrill to watch, just from watching from the sidelines, full of grace. Then we had Gary Name, the one-handed wonder, which I'll talk about later. Gary was so inspirational, determined, and dedicated to our goals and our team, and he really had one of the greatest plays of our season. Rich Nowak was our tight end with Phil Technip, and then our offensive line was just loaded. We had Pat Murphy, a Hall of Famer, all OAC, anchored our O-line. We had guard Matt Jolly, our center, all OAC, Sean Robinson, who's here today. Mike Court, AKA Big Daddy, AKA Chief, and Anton Tagazic were offensive tackles. And these guys, the offensive tackles, were unbelievable. They were the best in the OAC, hands down. I mentioned all those 45 records. Anyone knows the game, you got to have a really good offensive line. And most of those records were offensive records. Our kicking game, Ryan Haley, Steve Greka, who's here today. How lucky we were to have Steve and Ryan on our team. Both Ryan and Steve broke every single kicking record before Dave Littleton broke his. But they were just absolutely amazing. Ryan Haley led the nation punting with 42-yard average. Our coaching staff, Coach Nowak, Coach Dolciato, Debs, you guys were fantastic. And the reason why we broke all those points is because we had unbelievable coaches, all those records. On the defense, what amazing coaches we had on defense. Coach Scaife, Coach Volkman, Coach Glazer, Coach Reardon. Thank you so much for pushing all of us, challenging us, turning us into men. They had the right combination of fun, but you didn't want to push their buttons because they put you right back in your place. They held us accountable and pushed us to be great because they knew in 1989 what potential we had. We had co-captain all OAC Jimmy Mitchell and Kurt Gabram. They're not here tonight, so they're going to get less airtime. But Mitch was a linebacker playing strong safety from Benedictine, and Gaves was probably one of our most gifted athletes along Pat Dixon. If Gaves was a Walmart shopper, he would be at the customer service line complaining every single day. Let's just say Gabe's favorite line, and his wife and his mom is here, is "that's bullshit." He said it about everything. If his socks were kind of sagging, or if it was raining outside, and he had to go practice, that's bullshit. Keith Barber was our super sophomore. He made several key plays during the season, and Jim Tompkins was the other cornerback. Both these guys were just steady, solid players. John Reale rotated into games, a hard-hitting kid from Benedictine. Senior Bruce Ianni was an amazing teammate, person, and a hell of an athlete. Brad Greenler also helped us out in the back end. The D-line was anchored by OAC co-captain Joey Boehm and Isaiah Ignatius. Another pound-for-pound tremendous athlete was Pat Dixon. Pat, we should be here tonight, but we tragically lost him to cancer 2 years ago. Dix was definitely his own man and marched to his own beat. My first memory of Dix was his long red hair. Dix had this long red hair coming out of his helmet, and his nickname was Jesus. So, Coach DeCarlo, being the true disciplinarian, told Pat, "You're not going to play on this team unless you cut your hair so it doesn't hang out of his helmet." So Pat was going to quit the team. So thank God Coach Volkman stepped in, and he said, "Pat, are you really going to let 6 inches of hair stop you from doing what you love?" So in typical Pat Dixon style, he comes with a shaved head, basically telling him, "I'm still going to do it my way. We love you, Dix. We miss you, and we wish you were here." D-line, Timmy Jewett transferred from Youngstown State. He was a huge addition to our already strong unit. He was a strong kid, low center of gravity. He was just a solid block in there. Brian Cochran was our All-American, JCU Hall of Famer nose guard. The force up the middle made my job a lot easier. Then we had Ronnie Dolciato, Dr. Dolciano. Smartest kid on a team, academic All-American, but he was the old man of the group. I actually think Dulce was like 30 years old when he played in 1989. But Ronnie always had money on him. And we were all poor college kids. But Chick owned Utilities Construction, and Ronnie, we would just constantly borrow money off of him. Thinking that we keep saying, "Well, we're going to pay you back one day." And we've never paid him back. He was Mr. Consistent. He was smart, quick off the ball. He was just a great teammate, and I love him to death. And then we had Jimmy Flynn. On to the linebackers. I'm kidding, Jimmy. I thought more people were going to laugh at that one. Jimmy was another super sophomore, and he was just amazing. He was in front of me, and his job, Coach Reardon said, "Just keep everybody off of Verstoka." And Jimmy did that, except for the Dayton game. But other than that, Jimmy, you were a hell of a player. My counterpart, Tom Moose Mylott. I think he's got like 50 people here tonight. This whole side of the gym is Moose. Yeah. You can always pick out Moose at practice because Moose had a beet red neck. He had very fair skin. Just wave at everybody, Moose. And he was like a lobster man. He never put on any sunscreen. I don't think they had it back then. And his neck was always just beet red. But if his neck wasn't red and you had to find him, he was the guy with all the cold towels over his head because he was always ready to die of heat stroke. Don was just constantly cooling him off. In all seriousness, Moose was a solid player. He played beside me, and I was honored to have you next to me, Moose. Then there was Tommy Gibbons, Gibby. He was an intense kid. Came from Lake Catholic High School, my alma mater. He played a big role in Marietta when Moose, I think he got hurt that game or something, and Tommy came in. Actually, he got pulled. It was that counter back, Moose, and we're like, give me! Moose had to run out. But we ended up winning, so it was good. Our scout teams, you know, I got all you guys listed, but it's late. Can all the scout guys just stand up really quick? I just gotta acknowledge all of you guys. The Colemans, the Rex Ralstons, the Jimmy Robidoux, all these guys, all right? I'm just gonna tell you, these freshmen, these sophomores, I don't know if we appreciate you guys enough. These guys ran the scout team. They ran the other plays of the teams that were gonna play. And they were outstanding. And you guys made us better. So I am so glad that you guys are here. And I wish we probably would have treated you a little bit better. But I know, because they're always the underclassmen, but you realize, and Coach Fanati would attest to this, that how important it is that on the underclassmen to keep them engaged and keep them happy so they don't go home. So thank you guys for sticking it out. To Donnie Mack, to Chris Wenzer, Julie Delpias, and John DeSillo, who smiled from his heart, who I love dearly. And my little brother Joe, ball boy. You made it, Joe. He was probably the best ball boy in the country that year, Joe. Glad you're here. He was 10 years old when we were playing. We never went without you guys. We had, you know, whether it was tape, a mouth guard, a piece of equipment, we bugged Don all the time. And you guys were fantastic. And looking back on it, what a stellar group of people. You know, Wenzer and Julie, every article in the paper, even the Carroll News, it was just truly amazing and we appreciate it. Okay, on to the 89 season, finally. Okay, highlights of that year. We started the game on September 2nd, 1989, 30 years ago, against the University of Buffalo. If you're a Cleveland sports fan, you know that the Browns had the drive, they had the fumble, but in 1989, the John Carroll football team, we had the catch. Gary Name had a broken hand. Late in the game, we're down 14-15 with 2 minutes to go. Larry Wonky, our quarterback, is in the middle of the field, and he notices that no one is covering Gary. He's wide open. And he's got one hand. He's got a cast on the other hand. I have no idea why we didn't. I mean, Gary, it was amazing that you did that. I mean, to catch the ball away. So Larry looked off the safety, and he throws it to Gary. Gary catches it, but Gary's got to run like 30 yards to get in the end zone. And this safety starts beating down on him. And we're like, run, Gary, run! And it seemed like the play was in slow motion, but then we realized it was just Gary in slow motion. He was running like he had leg braces on, you know, it's like go Forrest run. That's where the nickname came from. But he made it. With one hand, he catches the ball, and that safety almost catches him, but he gets in there, and we end up winning the game 20-15. Thank God for Keith Barber, who intercepted a pass on the 50-yard line because they started driving on us. On September 30th, 1989, we traveled down to Marietta, who was 3-1 at the time. It was a night game, and the lighting was really poor, and it was like a cow pasture. I mean, the whole town came out for this game. It was a huge game. I think there was like 7,000 or 8,000 people, standing room only, but the lights were just so dingy. It was a hard-fought game. The week before, we had a little minor indiscretion with a 1979 Trans Am, but we made it through, you guys. We pulled together, and it really tested us, and it tested our love for each other. We won that game 13-10, thanks to Steve Greca's 2 field goals in the third quarter. Then came the game, the Mount Union game. We were 8-0 going into that game on November 4th, 1989. It was home, so it was at Brush High School. And I have such vivid memories of that game. Coach Volkman gave an amazing speech. You guys remember his speech before that game? Holy crap. He got us all riled up. And then we had to walk out for the coin toss. So it was me, Stevie Prelock, Jimmy Mitchell, Joey Bain. And I can remember going out there. And now in 1986, I can literally turn and pick my mom and dad out in the stands. I mean, there was maybe 100, 150 people there. So now fast forward to 1989, I think we had probably 8,000 people in that stadium. It was rocking. And I remember coming around the corner, and our whole fans just went crazy, and our basketball team dressed up as cheerleaders, which was awesome, our men's basketball team. And everyone was going nuts. And Coach Carroll said to me, he goes, I don't care what happens from here on out, you guys will never, ever forget this moment as long as you live, and I never have. And then the purple side was just booing like crazy. But what a game it was. The first half, it was hard fought. It was 7-7. And then in the third quarter, we had the catch, we had the game, and then we had the hit. Joey Bain put a delicious hit on Mount Union's quarterback, Brad Petro. He completely took his head off, and he recovered the fumble. That turned the game around. That was a turning point. And they basically got punched in the mouth, and then we went on to win 31-7, claiming the OAC outright. Wonk put on an aerial show. Bruce, Willie, Cree, Hank, Petey, our offensive line was truly outstanding. And the fans were there to watch it, so it was amazing. And our defense held Mount Union to only 80 passing yards and 14 first downs. So we finished the season 9-2. And like I stated earlier, 45 records were broken. We raised the bar. We established a new legacy, a new standard for John Carroll football. Like Wen said, first team to win 9 games in the season, first team to go to the playoffs, first team to beat Mount Union, first team to win the OAC. All that was great. But what was even more great is the long-lasting friendships that we created during our time together, the love that we had for one another, the love of the game and the respect we had for our coaches is what made those years and our time at John Carroll so special. Everything that we went through together, guys, the grueling double sessions, the muscle aches, the countless hours of film watching, the off-season workouts, the losses, the victories, so much time is committed to this game to become a true champion. And all of us, including the coaches, invested everything they had so we can achieve that goal. It takes a true team atmosphere and a collective effort to become a champion. It's coaches and it's also administration. Getting kids in the school are so important. And working with the admissions. To Coach DeCarlo, you changed all of our lives and how we thought about ourselves. Coach, you made us a first-class program with a first-class mindset. By the time we were seniors, we truly felt that no one can beat us. We didn't feel that in 1986. We fought to the end during every single game, which was a testament to your fighting spirit. We carry on your life lessons with us every single day. Doing things the right way, never taking shortcuts, believing in ourselves, and working harder than anyone else. Those are all the life lessons you taught us. And all because of this, you had such a great influence on our lives. We love you, Coach, and we thank you. In closing, I'm a firm believer that when you are looking back at your life, your final days are near, the number of friends you have compared to the number of dollars that you have in your bank account is far more important. The number of lives you impact, the number of good gestures you bestow on your fellow man, and being part of something bigger than yourself all determines, in my opinion, if you really live life to the fullest. Well, tonight, I stand in front of all of you today, and I can say with confidence that my life has been so fulfilled because of all of my fellow teammates, classmates, teachers, and coaches that I met at my time here at John Carroll. I am not who I am without this school and with all of you. My fellow brothers, I love you guys at the bottom of my heart. Onward on, go Blue Streaks. Thank you so much.